Hey guys, hello and welcome to Niro for Speed. In today's video, I am going to be showing you this car right here, the Kia EV3. It was the runner-up for Car of the Year in January, and recently it won World Car of the Year. I did do a walk-around video of this car recently. I took a look around the exterior and interior of this car. If you do want to watch that video, you can click this button over here. But when I saw the car a few months ago, immediately I knew that this car, because it has some really clever design features, that this is going to be a good car. And clearly others think so too, because it won World Car of the Year. Now in today's video, I'm going to be showing you around the exterior of the car. I'm going to be showing you around the interior of the car, and then I'm going to take it out on the road just to see what it feels like to drive. Now recently I did drive the Kia EV6 just before getting this car, so I'll compare it a little bit to that car as well. But I'll start with the exterior, and to begin with I want to mention this color because I think it looks pretty cool. It's called Frost Blue, and depending on which light you look at, looks quite white, and in some lights it looks quite dark blue, but I think it looks really cool. As we come towards the front of the car, I'll show you the front end, because this is where we have this new digital tiger face at the front over here, Kia's new identity, which they have on all of their new cars, and it's a different configuration in each one of their cars. I think it looks really cool in this particular car. It gives this small sort of car a bit of a bulldoggy kind of mean look to it. I really quite like that. And then over here on the side, you'll see these LED lights. These LED lights are in the star map configuration that you'll see in most of Kia's vehicles now. So you've got them in different configurations depending on which car you have, and this car has its own unique configuration, and I think it looks really quite cool. You'll also notice that that LED light extends towards the side of the car, which I think is really good, because it means that if somebody's looking at your car from the side, they can still see those lights are on, and that's really quite good. Overall, you get a sense that this car is basically, it takes the design elements from the Kia EV9 and condenses them down into this compact little car, and I think that's really quite cool. It's a pint-sized Kia EV9. Let me show you these alloy wheels, because I have the entry-level Air version in this particular car. You can get it in the Air, the GT line, or the GT line S. And in this entry-level Air version, you get 17-inch alloy wheels, and in the other versions, you get 19-inch alloy wheels. 17-inch alloy wheels might be quite good because it means that you get better ride comfort out on the road, and I'll tell you exactly what it feels like out there. But I do like this design, this sort of almost, it's like a four-spoke design that's going on. A little bit more to do with this sort of new electric design theory. You see a lot more electric cars with 4 spokes or 2 spokes or different wheel designs. I think they look really quite cool. And you can see these plastic wheel arches on the front and on the back as well. They give the car that little bit more of a SUV kind of look, this sort of a rugged outdoor look. As we come towards the side of the car, you'll see the dimensions of the car. Now, this is where things get a little bit interesting, because the car is 4.3 meters long, but the wheelbase is 268 centimeters long. So it's quite a long wheelbase compared to the car. Just like the Kia EV6, you've got a short overhang at the front and a short overhang at the back as well. So what it means is the wheels are pushed all the way to the extremities of the car, which means that you get loads of room inside. Now, Kia say that this car is one of the best for luggage space and interior cabin space in its class. And I'll show you around the inside shortly, but I think that's quite promising. Again, you can see this sort of SUV-ish sort of blocky shape as you come towards the back. These door handles on this side, you've got up here, but the driver and passenger door handles, which are here, they pop out like this, and you can open the doors like this. Now, because this is the entry-level Air version, you don't get these door handles that pop out automatically. In the GT line and the GT line S, when you unlock the car or as you approach the car, they'll pop out for you. But in this particular version, you have to press in there and open that out there. Now, I am going to tell you a little bit more about what you get in each of the different specs or trim levels of this car. And in general, in this Air version, what I'm going to be telling you is basically the stuff that you don't get in this car, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't get that you do get in some of the other versions of the car. But more of that when we go inside the car. Let's go towards the back of the car. because back here you've got these rear lights as well, which again come in that star map constellation configuration back here, and I think they look really quite good. They just finish off the back of the car really well. Down here you've got this sort of chunky rear bumper, again in plastic, but it looks pretty good. You've got the chrome and the black that contrast each other really well. Kia lettering over here with Kia's logo, the sort of minimalist logo. I do quite like that. And talking about minimalist design, you'll notice that there's no rear windscreen wiper. But where is the windscreen wiper? Well, actually, this is quite clever. It's hidden all the way up here, which you won't be able to see on camera, but it's hidden all the way up there underneath the spoiler. And what that means is when it starts to rain and you start the windscreen wiper, the first wipe is going to be nice and clean because it means the windscreen wiper stays dry. But also, when not in use, it gives the rear end a nice clean look. I think that's really clever. Let me show you the boot, because in this Air version, you don't get an automatic tailgate. You have to manually open it. But back here, if I move this parcel shelf, this cover over here, you'll see that this car has 460 litres of boot space, and the seats fold down with a 60-40 split, and if you fold them down you get 1,250 litres of boot space, and you can lower the boot floor quite considerably actually, so you get loads of space down there, a bit more of a load lip, but you get loads more space. Now again, this is very competitive of a car in its class. It's actually got one of the largest amount of luggage spaces for a car of this size, so I think that's really quite cool. But when I made that video a few months ago where I showed you the Kia EV3, I did a walk around of it, there was a gap in the parcel shelf over here. And in that particular, at the time, I was under the understanding that the cars that come to market won't have that gap, but this particular car does. So you get a bit of a gap in there, which you might be able to see my hand at the bottom, which is not ideal, but that's what you get in this car. But anyway, all seems pretty good so far. Let's go inside and I'll show you in there. So let me tell you about the interior of the Kia EV3, and in particular this Air trim level that I've got here. Now, I must admit much of this interior segment is going to be me talking about some of the features that you don't get in this version of the car, but I want to be thorough and I want to try and tell you what you get in the different trim levels of this car. But in general, the interior of this car, for this Air version, you get this grey interior theme. Lots of plastics everywhere throughout the cabin, but you do also get some soft materials as well. Like this seems like soft plastic here on the dashboard, and also here on the armrest, which is actually really quite squidgy and quite comfortable to rest your arm on. But in keeping with that grey theme, you got these seats over here that come with this grey fabric upholstery. Now in the higher trim levels of this car you get two-tone artificial leather, but in this you get grey upholstery, and I quite like the fabric upholstery. As standard, you get heated seats and you get heated steering wheels, so you can feel that heat come through really well, and it's comfortable. It is comfortable when you're driving along on the road, feeling that heat come through the seats. These seats that they sort of curve in quite a lot. These bolsters sort of come out quite far, and they do sort of hug you nicely. It's really quite comfortable, lots of support. But what you don't get with these seats, which you do get in the higher specs, is the relaxation seats. I believe you get that in the GT Line S, which can recline all the way back when you need to if you're charging the car. Talking about adjusting the seats, in this entry-level Air version, your seats are manually adjustable, so you have to use levers and stuff down here. In the higher specs, they are electronically adjustable. And talking about adjustable, I want to mention this center console area here, because when I made the video of that car the EV3 a few months ago, I mentioned the center console that can move forward and back. You can adjust it wherever you need to. I think it's by around 20 centimeters, something like that. You can move it forward and back. But in this entry-level Air version, you can't do that. Another thing that you get in those higher trim levels is a table over here that you can extend out. Now that's perfect for when you're charging the car. If you're sat in the car and you want to eat something, you want to have a meal, you've got a table here. You don't get that in the entry-level Air version. But what you do get is you get storage over here. You've got this little area over here where you can pop your phone as well, just right there. And you've got storage back here as well, and this divider. Now this is all hard plastic over there, so if you do put keys and stuff over here, they are gonna move around and make noise. But what you have down here is you have more storage over here, and now this is like a rubber. That's not That's not hard plastic. So if you do put keys on there and you're driving around, they can, you know, they won't move around and make as much noise. And it's the same down here as well. So you get plenty of storage all the way down here. You can put whatever you need to down here, stuff that you might need to get hold of easily, but still be a little bit out of sight to just grab maybe a box of tissues or something as well. You got two cup holders down here. Now these cup holders, you can push these buttons over here and you can extend out the parts of the cup holder so you can put whatever you need to in there. And I found these cup holders to be really good. I put even thin bottles in there, and because you got this clip area over here, because it clips up, because it extends from upwards rather than downwards, it holds the bottles into place really well. Whilst we're down here, I'll quickly show you these USB-C charging ports over here that you get as well. And then you got a 12-volt socket over there as well that you need if you need to connect something or charge something as well. So that's the sort of center console area. Let me show you the steering wheel. So the steering wheel over here, you get this 2-spoke steering wheel in the entry-level Air version. In some of the higher specs, you get a 3-spoke steering wheel, and you've got buttons on there which are easy and intuitive to use. You've got the flappy paddles behind, and I quite like Kia's flappy paddles that you can use to set the regenerative braking modes. You've got loads of different levels of that, which you can see on it tells you on the screen how much braking effect it will put in there. One thing you might have noticed when I showed you the center console is you don't get a switch gear for the drive modes. You don't get the on-off button or engine start button that you did on the Kia EV6 over here. Instead, it's on this stalk on the right-hand side of the steering wheel, but it's in a separate stalk to your windscreen wipers and to your lights. So they still work as they normally would. It's just a stalk down here, which is totally separate. So that makes things a little bit easier. You might have noticed this over here, just in front of, just behind the steering wheel. Now that's a sensor which can look at the driver, and it can see if the driver's feeling tired or if the driver's not paying attention, and it will call you out on it basically. So yeah, that's over there. Now, one thing that you'll notice in front of the driver is the screens that you get. So you've got, let me mention what screens you've got. So you've got a 12.3-inch driver display, which comes with the instrument cluster, comes with your speed. Right now you can see on there, it's got the sort of different economy figures and my average speed, how many miles I've driven, the time that I've driven this car so far, and the economy figure, which is 4 miles per kilowatt hour so far. I've driven this car for 44 miles in the last few days, and it's 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Most of that has been around the city. I'd say probably 10 miles of that has not been in the city. And 4 miles per kilowatt hour is actually quite a good figure, I think. So yeah, it is relatively economical. Over here, you'll get, in the central infotainment system, another 12.3-inch screen. Again, this is quite similar to the infotainment system that we saw on the Kia EV6. And you've got shortcuts down here. Now these are a little bit strange because they look like they would be touchscreen, but they're not. You have to sort of push them down a little bit, and you get like a haptic feedback vibration to know that you've touched it. But that's what you get over there. And then you got a volume button down here to scroll up and down, and climate controls over here. Now the climate controls aren't the most intuitive down here. It's a very basic and very simple, but you might have noticed just over here in between the two 12.3-inch screens, you've got this 5.3-inch screen over here, which has your climate controls over here, which you can use as a touch screen, and you can set to whatever you need to set to. Now, if you do want to make this larger, you can press this button over here, and then that should extend the climate control out onto this central infotainment screen. And then if you just press the X, it will all hide away as well. Now, that's actually conveniently placed there, but the steering wheel does come in the way of it. But at least you get a good view of the instrument cluster and the infotainment screen, and that's just in there if you need to. I think that's quite elegantly hidden away for when you need it. So in the rest of the cabin, let me tell you about some of the other features that you don't get in this car. Like in the GT Line S, you get a sunroof over here in the front. You don't get that in this particular car. You also don't get a heads-up display, because in the higher specs you get, I think in the GT Line S, you get a 12.3-inch heads-up display screen, and I think that was really quite useful when I had it in the Kia EV6, but you don't get that in this Air version. Another thing that you don't get in this entry-level Air version is the Harman Kardon sound system that you get in the higher specs. You get an 8-speaker sound system in those specs, but in this particular version you just get a 6-speaker sound system. So there's that. If you go for the entry-level Air version, you get a choice of 2 batteries. You've got the 58.3 kilowatt hour battery or this 81.4 kilowatt hour battery version. Now, if you go for that smaller battery, you've got a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 7.5 seconds. That's the quickest accelerating version of this car. And if you go for the 81.4 kilowatt hour version, then that 0 to 60 time is 7.7 seconds. Now, regardless of which version of the car you go for, they're all front wheel drive. Now, there may be 4-wheel drive versions of this car coming to Europe soon, but in the UK it's not confirmed if we're going to get those versions yet or not. Now, if you go for the GT Line or the GT Line S, you can only get it in the 81.4 kilowatt hour battery version, and the 0 to 60 miles per hour time of those versions are 7.9 seconds. So they're a little bit slower than the Air versions of the car. Regardless of which version you go for, you get a 150 kilowatt motor that's around 201 horsepower, and it produces 283 newton meters of torque. So it should be quite a fast, agile car, and especially with the electric powertrain, it should be quite smooth. But what I'll do now is I'll take it out on the road and I'll tell you exactly what it feels like to drive. So let me tell you what it's like to drive the Kia EV3, because I've been driving it for a couple of days around the city, and I found immediately as I got into the car, because I stepped out of the Kia EV6, I found the steering wheel of this car to be a little bit heavier than that car, and it seems to whip back straight whenever you know, let's say you're turning at a junction and then you want to straighten up again, it goes back to straight, it coils back, recoils back, it gets back to straight quicker than in the Kia EV6. Now, I think that's probably because this is a front-wheel drive car. So, whereas that was a rear-wheel drive car. So, obviously, the front wheels are dealing with turning and they're dealing with being powered and powering the car forward. So, for that reason, this car feels slightly different to drive than the Kia EV6. Now, I will let you know that in the Kia EV6, I heard a lot of sounds coming from the car when you'd enter a new speed limit zone, when there's a camera coming up, for example, that sort of stuff. Now, I'm not sure if you could do it in that car, but in this particular car, if you hold down the volume button on the steering wheel for 3 seconds, then the car will turn the speed limit warning sound off. So that's quite elegant. I think that's quite easy because it's a simple one button. You just hold it down rather than going through menus in the car to try and get into that. How does it feel to drive? Well, I'm quite glad that I'm on the 17-inch wheels because it is really comfortable, even around the city, even going over bumps. It's really good. I think this car is perfect to drive around the city. The seating position is great. The seating position has a good visibility all around. I feel like I am sat quite upright, but of course in a car of this size, when you want to get this much space inside and in the boot, for example, then you have to package everything really nicely. And part of that means that you're having to sit upright. But of course, this is a bit of a compact crossover SUV kind of vehicle. It's not, you've not got a high ride height, but you've still got a reasonably good position. Think of it in comparison to like the Suzuki Swift. Look at the sort of headroom that you get, similar to what you would get in the Suzuki Swift. So I think in general, putting this package together with the practicality that you get, I think Kia have done a really good job. And I think that's the reason why this car is World Car of the Year. As soon as I saw those finalists with the Hyundai and the BMW and the Kia, and I thought the Kia's got to win. The Kia, you know, because I've seen the Kia and I've seen what it was all about. Yeah, I thought the Kia would win. Let me tell you how it feels to drive. Now, on this sort of slightly faster road, I'm driving about 45 miles an hour at the moment. You can still hear the road noise on the tires, and you can certainly feel the bumps, and you can certainly feel all the texture of the road. But I'm not hearing a lot of wind noise at the moment. And driving it around the city, I never feel like I need more power. It's always it can accelerate and brake really well. The regenerative braking paddles are amazing. I love the regenerative braking paddles on the Kias, because it means that when I'm going downhill, there's a particular excuse me, there's a particular downhill near where I live where there's some speed cameras coming up, and I always like to keep the speed just under the limit whilst going down that hill. But of course it's a hill and you're going downhill, so the car can very easily run away from you, whereas depending on the severity of the hill, I can just click the flappy paddles and put the regenerative braking to level 1 or level 2, and it will make sure that the car stays at that speed or even starts to go a little bit slower. So I think that's a really quite convenient, and of course you're saving electricity, you're generating more electricity that you can then use for driving along and for your range. Now, in terms of the range, one thing that I do like about this car, and I wish it was in the other Kias as well, it wasn't in the Kia EV6, is the range monitor that you get on the instrument cluster in front of on the driver display. It tells you how much range you have left, but it also gives you a maximum and a minimum figure, which basically tells you how much range you can potentially get out of the car if you are driving the car sensibly, if you're driving economically, and how much range you might expect if you are driving a little bit more dynamically and not focusing on the economy figure. So I think that's quite nice. You get an upper and a lower figure, so you kind of have a ballpark figure as to how far you can go in the car. I think that's really quite good. Now, if you are talking about driving dynamically, you get this car in with a few different drive modes. You got your eco mode, which prioritizes saving that energy. You've got your normal mode, and then you got your sport mode, which changes the power curve of this car, so you can access that power quicker as you're speeding up. You've got a snow mode as well. So there's a few different driving modes that you get of this car, and I think overall it's a decent package. Even in this entry-level Air version, I've not felt like I'm missing out on anything. I've still got my heated seats and my heated steering wheel, and I've still got adaptive cruise control. I've got all the necessities that I need, and not much more than that. It's comfortable, it's good. Let me tell you about the price. So for the entry-level Air version, you get that if you get that in the 58.3 kilowatt-hour battery, then you can expect to pay around £33,000. For this version, it's the entry-level Air version, but it comes with the larger 81.4 kilowatt-hour battery, then you can expect to pay around £36,000. If you go for the GT Line S with the larger 81.4 kilowatt-hour battery, then you're looking at around £39,500. And if you go for the GT Line, and then if you go for the GT Line S with the larger 81.4 kilowatt-hour battery, then you can expect to pay around £43,000. And then you pay more than that if you get that version with a heat sink as well, a heat pump, sorry. And you can expect to pay around £625 more if you go for a premium paint, which is what this car has. It's got the frost blue is a premium paint, and I think it looks pretty good, especially in the sea of black, white and grey cars that you see nowadays, and silver cars. That sort of monotone colours that you see out on the road. Seeing colours like this is actually pretty good. I quite like it. I don't know if many customers will be bold enough to do that, but yeah, I'd like to see more cars with these colors out on the road. But overall, I think the Kia EV3 is a practical car that can be quite versatile. You can use it for everyday life. You can use it for longer journeys as well. The 10% to 80% charge in both versions of the car is around half an hour. It's 29 minutes for the smaller 58.3 kilowatt hour battery version, and it's around 31 minutes for this larger 81.4 kilowatt hour battery version. So, it can charge relatively fast as well when you're out on the road. So I think, yeah, like I say, it's versatile, it's easy to drive, good driving position. It has the hallmarks of a good car, and I think it will sell well. And Kia are on form when it comes to their cars, their designs, winning awards. Yeah, I think go check out Kia. You get a 7-year or 100,000 mile warranty as well, so you can't complain. I think it's a good package. Definitely consider it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was quite informative for you. And if you did, give this video a like. Make sure you share your comments, and do be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, and take care.